We have another approval for the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition, and workers from Treyarch are begging for this deal to go through. So yesterday there was some rumors that came out that Japan was very close to approving the Xbox Activision Blizzard deal, as they have seen nothing wrong with the deal. Now, it hasn't officially been approved in Japan, but from what those articles were saying, it is probably going to be sometime soon, unless it was all made up. Now, we actually do have an official approval, another approval. This will be the third country. First we have Brazil, then we have Saudi Arabia, and now Chile has approved the Xbox acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We have this article here for Windows Central talking about this approval, and Chile's regulator, the Fiscalía Nacional Económica, I have no idea if I said that properly, have officially approved the Microsoft purchase of Activision Blizzard, and they are saying that they have no reason to not approve this, as there are other massive big third-party companies out there like Electronic Arts, Epic Games, and Ubisoft, and other ones that are going to create plenty of competition within this market. And that is a take that I would say is correct. I mean, that's what pretty much everybody looking at this is saying, especially when you're looking at Sony's arguments as to why this deal shouldn't go through, pretty much saying that they're going to be able to foreclose Sony if they get Call of Duty onto Game Pass. There's nobody that's ever going to be able to compete with Call of Duty. No one's ever going to be able to compete with the subscription service of Xbox Game Pass when this deal goes through, which I think is wrong. However, when it does come to Xbox Game Pass right now is at the top, and that isn't because they've acquired Activision Blizzard or potentially are going to acquire Activision Blizzard. That is because they've been working on this thing since 2017, continuing to grow it and continuing to increase the value. They were the first in to really make a very good gaming subscription model. Now everybody is behind and everybody is trying to catch up, similar to what happened with the Netflix model. And we have seen tons of competition come in and try to beat out Netflix. Lots of competition doing extremely well. And I think that's going to be the same thing going forward. Game Pass will probably be on top for a very long time, but we will see lots of other competitors coming in and providing gamers and consumers with tons of choice as to where they want to subscribe to play video games. So that's another one on top of, like I said, Saudi Arabia and Brazil, and that puts more pressure on all these other countries in terms of looking at this deal at potentially approving it, because they are setting precedents right now as to what these countries think about this deal in terms of competition and how it is going to affect gamers and consumers. So this is more good news, and we'll see what happens going forward. But I mean, the FTC right now is the biggest one, as they're going to court, and then you got the CMA and you got the EU, who still also have to regulate on it. Now, when it comes to actual employees and how they are going to benefit, the employees at Activision, how they would benefit by going over and working for Microsoft, a company that we know has a far better work environment than Activision Blizzard, especially with everything that has happened in Activision Blizzard. And over recent years, we keep seeing good things about Microsoft, especially through Glassdoor, from employees talking about their experience working there and just the environment that they get to go to every day. Activision Blizzard employees are probably really hoping this deal goes through just so they can go ahead and work for a company like Microsoft, which is going to be better than the previous regime. And we are now even hearing some employees talk about this, as an employee at Treyarch talked about this and saying that they would daydream about this deal going through. Now, when it comes to the employees from Activision Blizzard and them potentially going over to work on Microsoft, I think for a lot of them, this is something that they would love to happen, especially with everything that has happened at Activision Blizzard. The work environment there, from what we understand, is far worse than it is at Microsoft. Microsoft, at least over the last couple of years, have had really good reviews on Glassdoor, and employees and former employees talking about what it was like to work there. And right now it's regarded as a great place to work with a great environment. So if you're somebody at Activision Blizzard, either you were formerly there or you're currently there, you're probably really hoping this happens so that you can move over and not have to worry about all the crap that happened at Activision Blizzard. And now we have a former Treyarch employee who is commented on this and saying that people daydreamed of this deal going through and going to work at Microsoft. So this comes via WCCF Tech, and it is from Jack Burrows, who is a former Treyarch developer, and he says this: "Yeah, we would daydream about how it would affect the day-to-day. we would think about it and we would talk about it being like, I wonder if this will change, or if if like this process won't be like that anymore, if we'll get more freedom to do whatever here and there. He then adds that he doesn't actually think that this proposed merger would really change the day-to-day work and how they are working on Call of Duty, as obviously Call of Duty is an extremely popular game. He even says here that it prints money, which is completely true. Now, we've heard grumblings of Xbox and Microsoft thinking about not having the yearly release of Call of Duty and going more a couple of years between games, which I think would be a great thing. I mean, you can easily make Call of Duty games that come out last 2 years, no problem. People will still be playing them. Like Modern Warfare 2 is going to last a couple of years anyways. Even if the new one comes up, people are still going to be playing Modern Warfare 2. So they could just take this game and make it last longer and then put more time into creating the new one, which I think will have great effects for when it comes out with content and all that type of stuff, and just improvements on the actual game and gameplay and graphics. And I think if anything, from my opinion, from what we have seen, is that, yeah, it's great to be hands off and let these studios have their creative vision, but at some point you need to step in, you need to provide direction, and you need to provide a timeline of when things need to be completed, because as of right now, the biggest complaint that Xbox has is just how long it is taking from the announcement of games to the release of them, and how long it is taking to develop some of these games. Now, this all may pay off in the long run. These games could be just absolutely incredible and amazing, and they may have never reached that if it wasn't for the hands-off approach and giving plenty of time to create these games. When we saw something like what happened with The Initiative and Perfect Dark, where Daryl Gallagher brought in Crystal Dynamics, people were upset because they decided to go in a direction that was against a direction that other employees wanted, which I think actually was a good thing. It was the studio head making a call to bring in a third-party studio that is very good, that he's previously worked at, and deciding to finally put your foot down and get a game in development in a single direction, which I think needs to be done a little bit more, especially with the amount of delays and how long some of these games are taking in development. But at the end of the day, if you're a developer and you're going to be purchased by a massive company, you don't want them to be putting all of their corporate stuff into it. You want them to be hands-off so you can make the games that you've creatively envisioned. But I think employees at Activision Blizzard are probably pretty happy about this merger if it happens. And if it doesn't happen, they're probably going to be pretty upset, because they're going to be stuck in the old ways of what they're doing right now. And it's right now at Activision Blizzard, I mean, it's essentially the Call of Duty company. They make other stuff, but all of the resources are going into Call of Duty, and it will be great if this deal goes through, they take some of those resources and spread it out, and we can get some new IPs, some older IPs brought back. That's what I would love to see. And then eventually, obviously, them all end up in Xbox Game Pass. That's it for me, guys. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think about the deal being approved in Chile and employees daydreaming about the merger? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here and you liked what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video. We'll be right back.